Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek Freaks. Today, I am talking with Jonathan.
Hey, yo.
And Squeaks. And I am Frank, and we're trying some video stuff out. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have this cool video up, and it worked. And if it's just our logo, then we need new cameras. Head over to our Patreon.
Right.
And so, by the way, I need you guys to check out. We have the new shirt ready to be put out of me.
Nice.
I need you guys to see, because I got the picture and I'm like, yeah, this looks really good, but I think too good.
It's a young Tony Stark. I'm excited.
Too good.
It really does, and I'm like, I don't think so.
You don't want to put the others to shame.
I want to see what you guys think, because you guys can be non-biased and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, you need a little more double chin or something like that. You know, the truth of it, and then we could be honest about things. Because to me, he looks too damn sexy. I don't want to sell out of shirts.
I like it.
So we'll confirm by that. Once that's done, then we're going to start our T-shirt Cannon Club on Patreon, where we're giving away a shirt for a donation, something like that.
Nice.
Basically, it's the same thing through Redbubble, but you're on our Patreon, where we put out articles and crap like that. Okay. We're going to start things off with reading some reviews. We've gotten a lot of really good reviews lately. We love our fans and stuff like that. So we'll dig into those. We're going to go over 5 of them. But before we get into that, what are you guys playing? Squeaks.
Oh, I just beat BioShock 1 remastered.
Oh,
Finally beat it.
Such a good game.
Really?
So I think I'm going to go to Nier Automata and then go back to BioShock 2.
Okay.
Man, BioShock 2?
Play
You
them
all
all.
play that one?
Yeah, that was.
I don't remember. That's the one I don't remember the most. So I was like, maybe
Do you
I
remember
didn't
the
beat
little?
this one.
Was it Big Sisters?
The Big Sister, yeah.
So
No,
the
I
Big
don't.
Daddy is the big mech suit robot. The Big Sister is like a. It's like in the what's that? I can't explain it.
It's a
Left
modified.
4 Dead. Do you remember Left 4 Dead? How you would walk up on
Yeah.
Love that game.
Yeah.
I can't remember, they were banshees or something like that.
Yeah.
The banshees, yeah.
Oh, God,
and they would
that's right.
scream and like race at you. Well, they're like that kind of like a.
Man, I'm starting to really think maybe I didn't play number 2
scary-
then.
You probably did.
I remember
Yeah,
I was
shit.
so excited for number 2. I went out and bought the game, but I was like deathly ill.
Yeah.
And so I laid in bed, and Jonathan played it for me, so I could just watch the story happen. So I'm sitting there like zoning in and out. I remember very well. I'd end up drifting off to sleep, wake up, he's fighting a Big Daddy, and I'm like trying to pay attention. And then go out, and then you made sure I was awake to see the finale. It was, oh man, what a great game. Number 1 to me is the best. Number 3, well,
really good too.
Really?
BioShock
Yeah,
Infinite to me is amazing.
yeah.
Now you played BioShock Infinite.
Oh,
right?
man, that was my favorite one.
Right.
Yeah, that game
Just
is so
that
good.
ending, too, gets me, too. Where,
Why is there not more BioShocks? We get a shit ton of Assassin's Creed. Let's get some
Yeah.
BioShocks out there.
Yeah.
What's up with 2K, though?
What do you
Because
mean?
they made it. What have they been doing?
No, I don't know. Probably, I have no clue.
Yeah.
Now that it's infinite,
I guess Borderlands 3.
make an online BioShock where you can build your own.
What a
Whatever
waste.
they're on.
I mean, I'd much rather have a BioShock than a Borderlands.
Is that new one horrible? Or what's the reviews
I just
on
don't know. I'd rather have a BioShock than a Borderlands.
Yeah.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's
it?
good
Yeah.
or bad.
I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks like the same as every other one. So
Yeah, I
don't
think they
care.
didn't really upgrade the graphics
Yeah.
much.
Hmm.
All right, what have you been playing?
Just Skyrim.
Skyrim.
I'm still slowly going through it.
By the way, I
Uh-huh.
need that video again because my computer pooped on me,
Dang.
and with that, your video. So
I need to make more anyways. Yeah, it's a pretty awesome game. I don't play it very often because I'm.
I want to get like a huge set of your videos and then create a bunch of small videos out of them
Yeah.
because I know it'll be, we'll go like.
Lately, what I've been doing is trying to binge Discovery.
Yes.
But it's just I'm so slow.
Oh,
But I just barely finished the first season
Mm.
this morning. But it's such a freaking good. It's a roller coaster.
Season 2
Yeah.
is like
Yeah. I
perfection.
gotta dive into it.
I wanted us to talk about the Star Trek convention, but not a lot of like actual news came out of it.
Yeah.
But they had one panel that was the new Captain Pike you're going to be introduced to in a bit once you start watching season 2,
Yeah.
and Captain Luca or whatever from season 1, the one that
Yeah.
no, spoiler alert, but he was the main captain in the beginning.
Yeah.
Man, that shit's so good though.
Oh, they're going to have him as, what do you...
No, they just had a panel with those two together.
Oh, okay,
Lorca.
okay, okay.
Lorca, thank you.
That's what it is. I was sitting there thinking, like, that doesn't sound right. But yeah.
Yeah.
There's a spin-off coming up. So we have Lower Decks. There's a cartoon spin-off coming up.
Mm.
The one of the many spin-offs they have coming up, everybody wants the Pike one, but they don't have that yet, is there is going to be a spin-off with the Empress
Oh, yeah.
from the Mirror Universe.
From the
Uh,
Terran.
Are you serious, dude?
I just don't... I don't like her as an actress. I don't.
Oh
I
my
like her
God.
in Crazy Rich Asians.
I love her as an actress. I love her as a captain. I love her.
Really?
No, she's one of my favorite characters.
Man. Are you
Anytime they
serious?
bring her in, I'm like,
what the
yes.
heck?
So
Oh,
would the
man, I
spinoff
don't
take
like
place
her.
in the Terran Empire? In
no,
that
it
other-
would be her. Watch season 2.
Okay,
I don't want to
'cause-
spoil anything what she's doing in season 2.
Is she a lot? Is she in season 2 quite a bit?
Oh, I thought you watched season 2 already.
I'm on like episode 5, I think. On episode 5.
Yeah, she's pretty big in season 2.
God damn, I hope she dies. she doesn't die.
Oh, it's kind of perfect though what they do there.
Yeah.
That's what I
The
assumed
end of
is, like,
Discovery
she'd be-
season 2 opens up like another 10 seasons of Discovery. It changes everything. It really lays things down well. So yeah, do that.
Nice.
I've been doing the freebie games. So we should mention that we have a couple of YouTube videos that we've been working on. We have freebie games every week. We release a video about the free games that are coming from Epic. We're gonna start peppering in some Steam games as well. And we started this week our first retro rewind, where Squeaks and I will be playing classic games, going back and forth.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do is like challenge each other to a game. So I'm like, I'll just say for an example, like you have to play Street Fighter 2 for the SNES, and then like you play it and record a video of you trying it out, and then vice versa. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
But anyways, I did Simpsons arcade game, which freaking classic. Yeah.
Dang.
All right, that's what we've been playing. Let's go ahead and get into these awesome reviews. Okay, first up from Derelict 88 for the Freaks. Geek Freaks blends news and information, wrap up with nerdy pop culture. It excels over other shows with the host being knowledgeable, engaging, and easy to listen to.
Nice.
Which I want to say, she's probably talking about me. Okay, next is from KT and Odie. Are you not entertained? Well, my reading is excellent, right? If you're looking for a podcast that provide a weekly entertainment roundup with a geeky twist, look no further, dear reader. I particularly enjoy their SDCC San Diego Comic Con wrap up. Yeah. That was a good episode we did. Except for we kept hitting the table. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
No, I didn't.
I did when I was editing.
Oh, really?
Boy, tell you what's really doing well is our Area 51 episode.
Yeah.
That got like triple the numbers of everything else we've done.
Wow.
Dang.
So we might.
It's a hot topic.
I mean, so
Might be
who's
doing
gonna,
more of those
who's
kind
gonna
of
be our mole in the breach then?
Who's gonna be running? Oh,
You gonna get in
okay. No, just get Daniel in there.
Oh my god, Daniel be there, be like,
I'm on the scene right now, guys.
I don't want to like hurt anybody. Can we just watch Naruto?
Yeah.
I'm gonna Naruto walk. Is that okay?
He would just be like,
No, I think if everybody's talking about the Naruto run, he's gonna be super stoked. He'll have his little
Bandana.
I can see him doing
whatever
that,
it is.
but actually going up against the Air Force, I think he'd be afraid to do that. He would much more like bring them Subway or something like that. He wouldn't want to actually fight anybody. By ODPH 607, check it out. Great content for the geek fans. The hosts keep you entertained. Hosts plural keep you entertained from start to finish. Hit download already. And then another one from Lawrence Watson 23. Actually, we do know Lawrence Watson from 23. Yeah, he does the Unpaid Programming podcast. Check that out, guys. Great stuff. I enjoyed listening to the show. Next up from Zridrome. That's a cool name. Loving the vibe. I keep finding myself nodding along. You guys are great. So thank you guys so much for the reviews. Hit us up with those 5 stars. We really appreciate it.
Pretty sure we're going to get a lot more reviews pretty soon talking about how sexy we are once we release these videos.
Oh, God.
That'd be cool.
I'm noticing how much shine I've got on my head. That's not sweat. That's apparently this light that's hating me. So I need a makeup lady. So hit us up on Patreon. I'm gonna hire me now.
So I had to hide my baldness too.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking that when I saw myself. I was like,
So in this episode, we're going to be going over some nerd news like we normally do. We're going to be doing a review for The Boys. We're going to be doing a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark review.
Yes.
Okay. And then we're going to close Modern Life review with Squeaks and Frank. But let's go ahead and dig into that news real quick. We're talking first off about Podcoin. It's a new app. Have you guys heard about this app?
No.
No. Okay, if you're a podcast addict like myself and you listen to podcasts all day, I do like 4 hours of podcast a day. And what this is, it's a new app that really has helped us out on the podcaster end, where you can listen to a podcast, and for every 10 minutes of podcast you listen to, it gives you 1 point. And then after 3 days of doing this, it'll give you 2 points for every 10 minutes, right? These points, once you get, the numbers are real rough when you think about it, but once you get to a certain point, you can turn the points into Amazon gift cards or donate them to charities, which is what we've been doing. Well, what I've been doing. But yeah, you can, and then on the podcaster end, so when we first say oh yeah, that's my podcast, once we establish it's our podcast, we become featured and then we're worth double points. So then, it drives engagement and stuff like that. You have leaderboards on your donations, on your watching or listening, and how much your podcast is being listened to. It's a really cool app. So if you guys are checking out, if you guys are on a third-party platform already, Stitch or something like that, give Podcoin a chance. I've been using them a lot. I'm kind of debating about switching back to, because I've gotten used to the Apple podcast app, So it's hard for me to go to a new one. I'm such a homebody. But this new app is cool. I like how it's giving you a reason to try out new apps, to always because you always at least want to do your streak, which is just 10 minutes of a podcast each day. and you can follow people on there too. So like I'm following a bunch of our fellow podcasters and just people that I've come across on the app. It's pretty neat. And you can be a little bit more engaging and stuff like that. And you might as well, like, the thing I've been donating to all my points to is you buy dog food for homeless dogs or whatever, which is like, dude, that's such a cool thing. Yeah. And they actually show you like 1 point's worth 20 calories of dog food, or for starving children too, which I know it probably should be for the children, but they got a cute dog on there. And then it's like 1 point for a cup of rice. So it's pretty cool. So check that out, guys. Podcoin.
It's kind of neat.
That's cool.
It's been helping us out a lot.
Sounds like a really smart marketing technique.
It's really smart, and people are like, okay, well, where's the money coming into this thing?
I was literally just thinking that. Like, how are they paying for all this?
Normally, they would be paying for ads, right? So instead of paying for ads, they're luring you slightly with the promotional funding.
Once the podcast app gets big, then you can buy for exposure. So when you see there's a podcast out there, so we go to Geek Freaks and we're like, hey, that's our podcast. Then I talk to the guy on the email thing, and then we get a code. By the way, use code Geek Freaks for an extra 350 coins or 150 coins, whatever. I don't remember what it is.
That's good.
But anyways, and then we get 2 weeks of these like double points. So then it's a bigger incentive to listen to us, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
In the future, you can pay to be featured.
Yeah.
And then so like say like $5, whatever. Oh yeah, I want to be featured for the next couple weeks. And then all of a sudden we're on the front of the page and we're a lot more visible.
Yeah.
You could see like if we know, so like for an example, when we go to BlizzCon, that's always our biggest episode of the year is when we go to BlizzCon and we do the 3-parter. When we do that this year, if this app is up and running and do that part, I'm like, well, it's probably a good idea to feature us because we know this is our best content.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of one of those things you could actually really kind of take advantage of it to spread your content out there. But yeah, I thought,
Yeah. And if you're going to be listening to a podcast anyways, might as well get a little perk, even like you're saying, just to be able to choose what donation you want to give that little bit to.
I think that's really, there's a ton of different donations you can do. Yeah. There's a lot of them, environmental and all kinds of stuff out there. It's really cool. I think the actual podcast app itself needs a little bit more work.
Yeah.
But they're still new. So,
That's cool.
But yeah, something to check out there. So, next up, let's talk about the Resident Evil show coming to Netflix. No casting yet, but we have gotten set photos. Have you've seen the set photos?
I just seen the poster. Yeah, I just seen the poster with the front of the door.
Yeah. Well, even off of that, you kind of get the vibe. What do you think of Netflix taking over a Resident Evil show? What do you think that's?
I think it'll be fun. I think they'll do a good job. Yeah. I think from looking at the first picture, we're going to see probably a retelling of the first game.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of, whatever. I would rather see it venture out. Oh, I think I'd rather see it venture out.
Okay.
But not like the movies. The movies,
the first couple movies I really liked. You didn't like those movies?
The first one was fine with me.
The second one.
Which one's the one with the menace? The Nimbus?
Second one.
Is that the second one? That one's alright. That one's alright. Anything after that, I don't care about.
I don't know.
You don't like that one? I think I just like the villain.
I liked it, but I'm not sure if it's number 2.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like number 4 or whatever, where they're
whichever
like,
one.
Fighting on
landing
planes
a plane
and stuff.
on the top of the skyscraper and stuff.
Yeah, what was it? I think that was like number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Netflix usually does a pretty decent job with their shows. I think it'd be okay. Yeah, I think it's good. But it's too soon to even say all we have is a poster. So, yeah.
The thing I really liked about it was from the images that we've seen, we have 2 more that are basically shots of the mansion. The dark tone and like that, kind of like an evil version of Adam Family, almost in that sense. I think they're going to be going for a very gothic feel, to where it's very foreboding. The house itself will be part of the villain, so you're actually like, because that's the thing about the game is the zombies themselves are frightening, but your movement, your limited ammo, your what's around this corner, what's in that is part of the fear. And the movies didn't capture that. The movies just kept throwing zombies at you for the most part.
Yeah.
The first movie was kind of cool, but I think it went below too fast. I think they weren't in the mansion for hardly any of it. I want more mansion stuff.
Yeah, this one looks like it is just gonna be the full on Resident Evil 1 mansion scene.
It'd be cool if like the final shot of the first season would be like discovery that there's a laboratory over here or something like that to show like there is a bottom, the Raccoon City nest, whatever that's called. I don't know.
Yeah. The acorn?
I think you might be right.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to be pretty cool. All right. Starting November 12th, you'll be able to combine Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN for I think it was like $12.
Yeah. What an insane deal. How is this happening? Like, I don't know.
They got competition. They're all getting wise. Like, if we don't band together and that provides something, I mean, Disney, I'm sure, is heading this too.
Well, Disney owns the other 2.
Oh. Okay.
They own Hulu. Well, yeah, because Hulu was created with ABC, which is Disney, NBC, which was Universal Studios, and Fox coming together to create their own streaming service to be able to put their regularly.
Content,
well, now they bought Fox. So they own 2/3 of it. So now Universal made a deal to where, okay, you guys can get the rest of Hulu then.
Okay. And then you have ESPN Plus, which Disney. So it's Disney, Hulu, which is owned by Disney, right?
And ESPN's owned by Disney.
So what's the other one?
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Well, yeah, it's all Disney.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
So the only deal they needed to make was with Universal.
That was so they've had Hulu, now they have Hulu.
Okay.
So now this will be one cool package to have everything. I wish there was a way to do it with Spotify too, because Spotify and Hulu have been together. So I'm sure there will be a moment where you can do that.
Yeah.
My big thing is I want Hulu to be ad free. We'll have to see, because right now I have that Spotify plan.
You think they're only giving us the price of it with ads? Because I pay for ad free and it's $11.99.
It's so worth it too.
Yeah, oh for sure.
So I bet it'll be like $12 with ads, maybe 15 without.
Man, that's just a crazy deal. Yeah, hell yeah.
This will hurt Netflix more than anything so far.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and Netflix is already under attack, so
yeah, they are.
We had a good talk about that last week.
Yeah.
So, Hulu, Disney, and ESPN. Do you have ESPN Plus at all?
I do.
Does it air live games?
It does. So it'll air live games, and they'll air games that you won't normally see. So some soccer games that are even in the local area. So we'll get like the Sacramento Republic, which nice. I don't care too much about those, but you do get some UFC fights, some MLS games, which I don't watch too much of the US soccer. But it does come in handy. So sometimes I'll watch my English team play here and there on ESPN Plus. But it's only $4.99, I think, is what I'm paying for it. So it's really not a big deal to. Like, if I get a couple games a month, then it's worth it for me.
Sports wise,
Yankees too, yeah.
I really only watch football, right? But I want to get into hockey and I want to get into soccer. I watch soccer once it's World Cup or Olympics, but I want to get into it, like get a good team. Kind of, I don't know. Manchester United is the only one I kind of pay attention to a little bit.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Or Real Madrid, right? Yeah. So like the Yankees and the Cowboys, the two biggest teams you could think of, right? So if I had access to a streaming service that gave those, I would totally be picking a team and sticking with them.
I'll say the English Premier League, which is one of the obviously bigger leagues and more competitive, is usually always on TV.
Oh, is it? Okay.
If I had to watch my team play on ESPN Plus, it's usually in like a different tournament that they're in. So you get those type of games too.
I see.
So for $4.99, I think it's well worth it, because sometimes so for as much as Yankees is on TV, it's sometimes on ESPN Plus. So it's like vice versa. I got rid of my cable, so I feel like I'm not missing much on TV because I'll get it eventually somewhere on ESPN Plus. So
there was the women's soccer. I got rid of cable and all that too, and so I actually watched a guy on Twitch narrating what was going on in the game. It was very good, actually. He did a very good job. But that's the world you live in. Sometimes when you don't have a cable box, sometimes you just got to go with a dude explaining it on
classic radio.
Yeah. It did a great job. I was playing video games and listening to him, and the guy was very insightful. He's what a young kid, but did a good job.
As long as it comes in pretty good, that's all you need.
Yeah, it was good. He even had like the screen where it showed just the part of the screen that showed the score. So he did a good job.
You guys should do that for some of your favorite streamers during E3 and stuff like that. Yeah, like when they're doing playing big games, WoW or League of Legends or something like that. Just sit there instead of airing the actual game, be the narrator and saying, "Oh, he just cast this and that."
Definitely actually do that during BlizzCon, because it's all tournaments all day long.
There you go.
The Overwatch.
Good idea.
John's thinking. John's on top of his game over here.
I don't know nothing about video games that much, but business, I'll make us some money.
Boom. All right. Next up, Andy Serkis. He's gonna be directing Venom 2.
Oh man, I have some hope in it now.
Venom 2.
Oh really?
Yeah. So you guys may know Andy Serkis from Golem, and he's the bad guy in Black Panther and stuff like that. Caesar and Planet of the Apes. So what do you guys think this means for Venom 2? Is it a good sign? What is he going to bring to the table that maybe it hasn't been brought before?
Definitely a better sign than what it was with Venom 1. Yeah. So it's already better just by hearing his name part of it now. So I know Marvel is working with Venom on, feels like he's anti-hero, but he's still like, oh, he's really good, and deep down inside, like, no, I want to see him tear some shit up as a villain. Yeah. So hopefully they go that route. It'd be nice, but we'll see. I don't know.
I like a more grounded version of Venom, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then, just straight up Venom. Like, why are we pussyfooting around?
Yeah.
But I think that's always been kind of Venom's character, too, that he isn't necessarily intentionally bad. It's just in his nature to be bad. So he doesn't... He's kind of a victim of who he is. He can't control himself, but it's his nature.
Yeah. I want to see him kill Spider-Man.
Yeah, at least try to. And then, we're so far away from it, but this whole like symbiote planet thing. Have you been reading about that in the comics?
On the Venom comics,
Yeah.
or I saw that he had a couple issues.
Yeah, where there was like this. Oh God, I'm gonna sound like an idiot because I don't know what I'm talking about. But like, there's the sword that this one like symbiote god had, that it's like the Godbreaker sword and shit. It's such a crazy story. It makes a symbiote like insanely cooler. I'll have to go over and get back.
So you actually enjoy it though?
Yeah, I just got tidbits and I was just like, this changes the game. Like, this is everything. Venom just got way cooler. All the little offspring, because I don't care for the offspring except for Carnage. But now all of those are way cooler. Everything was cooler because of this. Because they were like ancient beings and all kinds of shit from a planet, and like they were working together to imprison their god and stuff. It's this whole crazy thing.
Oh, wow.
It gave their species depth to actually care about
it. Way more, and like you could see like where the hatred of their sound is from when he was forging the sword. And, was why they hate sound. It was like this whole thing. It's like really cool. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't kill like you're saying given death like Aliens, the Prometheus 2. What was that number 2?
Prometheus, yeah, just Prometheus.
Yeah, but what was the second one after that?
I don't know. Aliens.
Yeah, but there was another one after Prometheus.
Oh, I don't
that was
remember
in that kind of world still.
Oh, okay.
So they went back and you saw like all the alien human race with the alien attacking. Okay.
No, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Stupid right now. I forgot which one that was called. But it's the one right after Prometheus.
Like that?
No, I think so.
Okay.
But anyway,
I know there's a video game that's called something like that too. We're pros, guys.
But I didn't like the backstory on the aliens with the other people living on the planet. I thought that was dumb.
Okay, yeah.
So hopefully it's not.
I like the Alien versus Predator story where they just like use them to hunt and they just throw them on a planet and like, oh yeah, populate so we can attack you guys.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah,
I'm down to see those two fight.
Like that one.
So.
Those are always Next up, Home Alone, Cheaper by the Dozen, Night at the Museum, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid are all getting reboots.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't care about Diary.
It'll be on Disney Plus. This is part of the whole getting Fox's IPs and stuff like that. Now they fully own a lot of these. There will be no theatrical releases. They're gonna go straight to Disney Plus.
Which one was Cheaper by the Dozen? I can't.
That's the newest version is the one with like Steve Martin. Remember, like, oh, you have 7 kids and I have, let's do the math on this, 5 kids. We get married and boom, 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 boom. Now we have a whole family.
Who
and it's a
has
mess.
7 kids?
Ashton Kutcher. Yeah, I think Ashton Kutcher was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
You must live in a town with no fire station.
Yeah.
Drop them off. No, just kidding. That's messed up. Don't drop your kids off the fire station. I'm just saying 7
Day
kids.
before that 15th
single.
birthday, like, let's go for a ride.
Okay.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so what do you think about these getting rebooted?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, reboots have been hot so far. I haven't seen too many that were bad. So, and it's just gonna go straight to Disney Plus and not be on, in theaters. So, I like when Disney used to really knock out those made-for-TV movies like Lucky the Irish and Brink and stuff like that. Those were classics. So
Johnny Tsunami, remember?
Yeah.
Johnny Tsunami?
We look forward to
do
like
it
the
again.
was it Friday night when they released or Friday they released?
Something like that. Yeah.
I remember some, but I always remember looking forward to the new movie that'd be coming out that
What's
week.
it, in Wraps or Wrap Up, the one of the Mummy or something like that. The guy that plays
Under
Patrick
Wraps.
SpongeBob.
Under Wraps,
Yeah. Oh, God
so many of them. They're good. They're just like cheap, quick stamp out, but kids loved them.
Xenon, the what was that?
Warrior?
Space? No,
Yeah.
no, that was
Oh,
Xenon.
Girl from the 21st Century.
That one.
Yeah.
Anyways, God.
Yeah, Xenon, I think.
So I wonder if that's what the whole these things are going to be fitting, and they're like going to be less expensive movies.
It sounds like it. I mean, why would they go directly? Not be in theaters?
Yeah.
If they could make money in theaters, they would. But they already have plenty of content filling those spots.
Yeah, and Disney Plus. I mean, they really got Mandalorian, and we got a lot of content going to Disney Plus. It's gonna be great. All MCU stuff. So Diary of the Wimpy Kid seems like I haven't watched it. Brody, the nephew, reads those books. It seems like it's pretty new to be rebooted already. That one just came out like what 4 or 5 years.
Because they had a couple movies too.
Yeah, there's like 4 movies out for that.
Wow.
But it's under new owners, so they're probably like, hey, that's a cool story, cool script. Your movie was junk, but we're gonna redo it and make it worth money. That's probably their perspective as Disney. I mean, they just bought the story. They didn't care what was released about it before.
I can see Cheaper by the Dozen being done. Home Alone, I almost wish they would do like a sequel to it instead.
Yeah.
Right? But because a sequel won't be as good. If you just start over and say, hey, we're not trying to, attach to this. We're just going to start over. I think it can be better. Because it's a whole new generation now that you're airing it for.
Speaking of being a whole new generation, what if Macaulay Culkin's the dad?
He's nice and all, but let's keep him off TV.
Dude, I just watched him on Good Mythical Morning, and it was like, this is awkward. That guy is strung right the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's a trip. And then like did you see his post after this got announced? The Home Alone. You guys got to see on Twitter. He put what it's really. It's like something like the real life. What it'd be like if it was, whatever.
Yeah.
Nowadays, and it's him with like in his underwear and a shirt that's not cold, and like he's just on a laptop, like zoned out.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is really what it'd be like if he was home alone and whatever. The guy, he's trying to start his own internet company that like his own website that does like funny articles and stuff like that, like a College Humor or crack.com.
No.
Yeah.
He's trying to start one of those.
Right.
Bunny Ears is what it's called.
Mm.
I just don't trust him to make good stuff.
Yeah.
He's hiring a lot of good writers.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you're all being headed by Macaulay Culkin though at some point, which who's trying to call
Yeah.
himself Mac now.
Mac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, if you want any money, just stick with the name Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just call yourself Home Alone. I mean,
Yeah.
Cut to the chase.
The one that I'm upset about them rebooting is Not at the Museum. Because I love those movies.
Yeah, that's weird that
They
they're
were
doing that.
They were okay. I mean, I wasn't in love with them. I think it'd be interesting to see it done again.
Yeah, Robin Williams, I can see.
Easy way to redo it. Imagine, very similar characters too. Imagine if Jack Black was the guy in the museum.
I love Jack Black.
It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Envy those guys are side by side, him and Ben Stiller, but they're very similar, comedy style.
Who in history could Jack Black... Do you want him to be the guard, or do you want him to be like somebody in history?
No, he'd be the guard.
Yes,
He'd be the main character. Yeah.
Dude.
All right, so who would play Robin Williams? And
Yeah.
that's
All right,
So
let's
what
think
about this though? What if they do a different museum? Like,
Yeah,
does it have to be the all with? Yeah,
No,
what
because
is
they've
one
done
called?
that. They've done that within the trilogy. It's moved to like the London Museum and stuff like that. So they've had that where it travels along. So they could just have it. Yeah, move to a whole new place.
Because then, yeah.
oh yeah, those tablets. Or
The
whatever
tablet,
they
the
do,
tablet of
yeah.
Raj or whatever
Mm.
the heck. Those are
Yeah.
good. I like those movies. I know they're family movies or whatever, and
Hey,
you
it's
got to be
good.
edgelord and stuff. But
Mm.
man, it's so
That'd be
good.
Funny.
Now I want to. Jack Black's YouTube channel is like my new favorite YouTube channel.
Yeah, watch a couple
You-
episodes.
oh man, it's just funny watching. It's just neat to watch because right now they're on tour with Tenacious D, and so it's just neat to see like behind the scenes and stuff like that. And
He's just a funny guy.
he
in general.
always has to. He always has to drop a deuce before he goes out and performs. And like this last episode, twice he's like, "I need to find a place." And they said you can't take a dump in here, so they got him a porta potty and stuff like that. And then he's like, "Yeah, got a ton." So anyway, it's just wonderful to watch that. You guys check it out. Okay. Next up, Death Stranding. Squeaks, I'm looking to you on this one. Death Stranding is
man.
not going to be a PS4 exclusive.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
That's new to me. Dang.
Now, not Xbox, but it will be coming to PC.
So it's just PS4, PC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But to me, like that's like, yeah, okay, then I'll play it. I was gonna play it with PS4.
Damn.
That opens a lot, and a lot of PCs are way stronger than PS4s are right now. So
Yes. I wonder if that's why they're doing it, just for the looks of it. Because when you look at it, you're like, damn, this is beautiful. What does it take to run this thing?
yeah, which means it'll definitely be on the PS5 then if they're able to upgrade the looks for.
Oh man, because
PC.
I was just talking to someone about a PS5 because we are thinking Last of Us 2 will probably be pushed back until a PS5.
It'll
maybe
probably
one of their
straddle both. Like
flagships.
they did that with
Do
Grand Theft
both.
Auto. It straddled both.
Yeah. Dang, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, to me that takes a lot of the sting off of it. That was like a big selling point to PlayStation was its Death Stranding, the hype behind it and everything like that.
Yeah,
And then for Norman's Reed, for it to be now available on PC,
that's a lot of sales loss just
That
for
is.
the PS4.
For the
yeah,
pla-
that's
yeah.
huge. Dang,
That's huge.
Because that's going to be one of their big games, especially if they make it with Kojima.
mm-hmm.
Now he's gonna do all his games on PS4. Well, apparently not. Now it's on PC, so
I
it's
think
a lot
it
of
opens it
money
up.
not for Sony now. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's going to open it up even more so to DLCs because I think PC is open to more DLCs than console gamers are. Personally, I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you see there's coming a lot of DLCs in this thing?
For this game, I don't know. Could Kojima, has he done a lot of DLCs?
Not yet, but everybody's
I
got more
don't think
money.
of it, but yeah, true. Yeah, money.
Nowadays, it's all about DLC.
Dang, I
boxes.
don't know. I don't. I'm gonna stay no with the DLC still.
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna make that much for him. I think we'll just get the game and that's what it is.
Okay.
Kind of crazy to say that nowadays. But
It is kind of crazy.
sticking
About
with
that.
that.
Was big news when Star Wars announced that they're going to do that.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of crazy to say that, but I mean,
I think he wants everyone to experience the same story. So it's like if you sell these DLCs, then some people might not experience that than the others.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I'll have to see. All right. Last piece. Yeah. Last piece. David Benioff and Dan Weiss. These are Dan and Dave that did Game of Thrones. They just signed a multi-year film and TV contract with Netflix. Netflix was bidding on them with Disney and Amazon both wanted to try to get these guys. It's going to cost $200 million. Netflix is going to have them just start pumping stuff out.
Shit.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Damn, 200 million.
just to keep them on retainer. Like, hey, whatever we want you guys to work on.
They're just gonna start making movies and TV shows.
God.
We haven't seen them make a movie yet.
Yeah.
But they could make TV shows. Is there anything off the top of your head, fiction-wise, that you'd want to see made into something for Netflix with these two guys helming or at the helm? I'm gonna say
go ahead.
Saga.
Yeah, that'd be
It's
awesome.
like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm thinking this would probably cause a lot of grief and a lot of people would hate it, but some people would totally love it. Redo Harry Potter.
Wow. Yeah. A lot more people hating that.
I'm saying I'm keeping it cool right now.
Just start over. Just throw that shit away.
I would like to see a different story though, because I hate this. Fantastic Beast one.
I haven't seen any of them yet.
God,
Just
man,
don't
you're not
attract
missing
me.
out. No, man, I hate them, and I buy them because I buy all the Harry Potter movies. But I'm like, fuck, why?
It'd be
I have
cool
to own them all.
to use the same world, but show a more adult story. Like, don't focus on the kids, but
Isn't that
go
the
back
That's
a
what
generation.
Fantastic Beasts is trying to do, but it's not
It's
good.
terrible.
Like,
Yeah, so
maybe do a dark version of it with like Baltimore's side.
yeah.
When they're all
Oh, that'd be
kinda,
interesting.
Yeah,
That's chances though. People don't like to take chances.
yeah.
I'll
Well,
have to see.
the most successful do.
Because is it Amazon that's making the Lord of the Rings series right
Yeah.
now, and HBO did a fantastic job with Game of Thrones, so Netflix should be trying to bring in something in that realm to compete.
We got
Just
Wheel
keep
of
that
Time in
attention.
development right now.
Are you scared to see something from them?
I know. I'm a little worried because some of the best episodes were not done by them, but they did bring us the first season. So it's I think they might be a little bit too big for their britches anymore.
I'm thinking, are we going to get the same feel of Game of Thrones? Like, am I going to see a bunch of episodes where they talk and then we have one big one? And I mean, even though I was into it the whole time, but I don't want
to me, that's
the
all
same
good stuff you're
layout.
saying right
Yeah.
there. Like, I would love to see that with that same production quality.
See, I just don't want to see the same layout.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know what I'm expecting. If they made a Saga and it's pretty much the same layout as Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but when you read Saga, it's that layout. Like, when you read Saga, sometimes it's a thing about how she's trying to be a wrestler and he's trying to be a stay-at-home dad or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're being pursued, but nothing's really happening.
Yeah.
Or, like, one of my favorite parts of Saga is the part where they're staying in that one guy's lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just them kind of, like, telling stories, and it's, like, family
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then, boom, the prince is there.
Yeah.
And shit just ramps up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Man,
There's
that
like
is such a
Prison
good
Break and
series.
stuff. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
Makes it, I guess I just pretty much named the same story. It is
And-
kind of like that.
And Game of Thrones to me didn't get very like rhythmic. It didn't seem to like I couldn't predict it very well. Some
Yeah.
stuff, yeah, you can see like, well, this at some point this has to happen, but it was pretty well. I mean, our audience knows we tried to predict it several times and we were off by a lot every time.
I know one of the biggest predictions we made before, because we did a pregame one. One of our biggest predictions was that Jon would sacrifice himself to like become the new Night King.
Yeah.
And no, Night King was dead. Episode 3. Spoilers, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Oh man, I miss that show.
I guess I just don't want the same feel. That's all.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see them do something totally different.
We'll probably get that same feel out of Lord of the Rings.
No, it's Lord of the Rings though. I'm
Yeah.
okay with
Yeah.
it.
I know, I can't wait.
Hopefully they go a little bit
Like, well,
darker.
you know, whatever.
All right, guys, let's get into our reviews. We're gonna start off with The Boys. Okay.
What you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you?
This is a show from Amazon Prime. It's actually the first Amazon Prime show I've ever seen. And I'm very impressed with their production quality. It's super good. It's an 8-episode run. It's created by Seth Rogen, Eric Kripke. He did like Supernatural and every freaking thing else that has Seth Rogen in it, basically. I mean, I'm talking like, I was surprised with the list. It's like, okay, obviously you guys are friends. And then Evan Goldberg, who did, my bad. Evan Goldberg's the Supernatural guy. He does everything. Or the Super Bad.
Gotcha.
And then this other guy did Supernatural.
Uh,
I was an idiot and put Superbad as my example for a Seth Rogen movie. Anyways,
he is in Superbad though.
he is. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
okay.
a lowly cop that's like not in it much. Just a bad
Yeah.
example of it. He did Pineapple Express. Would have been a better one to do.
There you go.
The comic is by Garth Ensign. Now, Garth is the one that did Preacher, so that's a pretty big comic book series. And if you're a fan of Preacher, if you're familiar with Preacher, also by Seth Rogen, you're familiar with the vibe of this show, where it's bizarre and hardcore and freaking nuts. I read the first volume, which is like the first 4 issues or whatever, the comic, to try to like see what it's like. I almost couldn't get through it because I didn't like the art style. I didn't like the writing.
Art style can totally ruin it too. You can't get immersed into a story if you can't appreciate the detail and quality of the art.
And one thing about the comic book is there were a lot of like close-ups on faces, and it just kind of was like, I don't really care about this. Show me more of the environment behind you.
Yeah.
While this is going, I don't know. It just wasn't done very well. So we're gonna go full spoilers on this. You guys haven't watched this, right?
No.
But I'm gonna still spoil it for you, and you still should watch it afterwards. Okay.
Okay.
because this is going to be the new thing. This is going to be, and this kind of became big out of nowhere. So I'm going to read the first. Here we go with me reading again. I'm the one that puts this shit together. Why do I set this up?
Good luck.
Yeah. The Boys is set in a universe where superpowered people are recognized as heroes by the general public and owned by a powerful corporation called Vought International. In the comic books, it's Vought America, who ensures that they are properly marketed and monetized. Outside of their heroic personas, most are arrogant and corrupt. The series primarily focuses on two groups: the titular Boys, vigilante group seeking to keep corrupted heroes under control, and the Seven, Vought's international premier superhero team. The Boys are led by Billy Butcher, who is a badass. You guys gotta watch this. Billy Butcher, who despises all superpowered people, and Seven, who are led by the egotistical and unstable Homelander, also badass. As the conflict ensues between the two groups, the series also follows new members of each team. Hugh, or Huey Campbell, of the Boys, who joins the Vigilantes after his girlfriend is killed by a high-speed collision by the Seven's A train, and Annie January, also known as Starlight, I'll be calling her Starlight the whole time, of the Seven, a young and hopeful heroine forced to face the truth about the heroes she admires. So it's, I know we've seen this before where it's like, oh, it's superheroes, but they're not really the good guys. No, this is like the antithesis of this. This is exactly what it'd be like if we had Justice League in our world. Mm-hmm. I own, Superman shirts. Now imagine if Superman was getting a cut of that.
Yeah.
Then Superman would make sure to, that he's selling shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you have. You have these two different sides. And what I love is both of these sides have leaders that go too far and are not great people. Yeah. You're rooting for both of them. One's super evil, and that's Superman. And, and then you have one that's like, yeah, pretty much super evil, and that's Billy Butcher. But then they have these new members that you're going with, and you're like, both can relate to each other in a way that you're so sad for everybody, and you want the best for everybody. And there are no real good people. Even Huey killed one guy in particular, and then Starlight has done things that she regrets. And like, well, yeah, she's in the eye of the persona. She's probably the most innocent of everybody in the show, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna go over the characters real quick, and we'll just kind of go down their powers and who they belong to. Billy Butcher, he's the leader of the Boys. Now he's played by Carl Urban. You guys recognize that name? Mm-hmm. He is the Doctor in the newer Star Trek movies.
Okay, yeah.
Bones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bones, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I know.
He's super good at this because you got to think of him as like a rugged. He used to be the part of the CIA. Now he's out on his own.
He looks kind of like Punisher or Wolverine kind of style, right?
Actually, think of Punisher.
Yeah.
When you're thinking of this guy, but with a beard. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Next we have Huey. Now in the comic books, what was really cool is the guy who made the comic books. He wanted to make this guy like Simon Pegg. Now Simon Pegg is from when Nick Frost does Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that, right? So he actually drew him just like it. And he wrote a letter asking if it was okay, and Simon Pegg's like totally cool with it.
Yeah.
And Simon Pegg joined this playing Huey's dad as like a little cameo kind of thing. So it was kind of a cool little thing like that. Anthony Starr, plays Homelander, and now this guy, I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything, but he is phenomenal. And what it is he plays this guy who when you see him, you're like, oh, that's Superman. He's like, or Captain America like character, because he has like an American flag as his cape and everything like that. And he is the pinnacle of like everything good. And then he'll turn his back and be like, fucking mortals. Like he can't stand anybody not super powered around him. And even the people that are around him that are not as powerful as him has no respect for.
Yeah.
He's super dangerous. Like I haven't seen somebody this straight up evil in a long time in anything. So I'm pretty excited about it.
And see the back. What is this group first before
the Seven?
Are they like a bad?
So think of the Seven as Justice League. I mean, what's great about this comic book?
They're paid and controlled by the big corporation. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So this comic book actually was being made through DC, one of their side comic books.
No.
And then they told him, no, you guys can't keep going because this is Superman. You guys are making A-Train is the Flash, Queen Maya or whatever, she's a Wonder Woman. Like they're straight up all copies. And so they stopped them, and then they went to another company and was able to finish the run.
Okay.
Yeah, freaking nuts. And then so we'll go into Erin Moriarty plays Starlight. She's just super nice. Dominique McElliott, she plays Queen Maeve. That's it. Jesse T. Usher plays A-Train. Now he's like their Flash, and we'll go into how it starts off. But yeah, so he plays their Flash. On the boys' side, we have this guy named Lance Alonso. That's a tough name. He plays a dude named Mother's Milk. Straight up his name, dude. And he's like the big buff, like Luke Cage, but a good guy, no superpowers, right? Nobody on the team has superpowers. Nobody on The Boys, I mean.
Mm.
And then we have Chance Crawford. He plays the Deep. Now he's like their Aquaman. And this guy, oh my God, we're going to be talking so deep on him. Then we have Tommy Capon, who plays Frenchie, who's like the crazy, wily demolition man on The Boys team. He's one of my favorite characters. Then we have Karen Fukara. She plays what's called the Female, and she's just this woman who they like find at, and they've been injecting her with superhero powers, this Compound V, like in a cage to see like what happens if you give it to adults.
Okay.
And yeah, and so she's just kind of like wily in the head, but she's really, really good. And then the last one I'll mention is Elizabeth. I can't remember her name. Anyways, she plays Madeline Stillwell.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, so Lizzie plays Madeline Stillwell. And then yeah, we have Simon Pegg, who's the dad.
Nice.
Next page. All right, so a couple of my favorite parts I just want to mention. The opening, the reason Huey hates the superheroes is he's got this girlfriend and they're walking, again, all spoilers. Mm-hmm. They're walking down the street and just like, oh, maybe we'll move in together, stuff like that. And he's holding her hands. And then all of a sudden, it's just like it stops and she's gone. But then you see like blood start to splatter on his face. And what it was is A-Train, the Flash, runs so fast he runs through her and just shatters her. She's just vaporized. And he's holding her hand still.
Oh, shit.
But they're like not connected to anybody.
That's messed up.
Yeah. And A-Train stops. He takes off his glasses. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I gotta go. And he just goes. And then like leaves him. And he's just like freaking out, you know?
Yeah.
And then, of course, these lawyers come in later on and they represent Vought and, you know, the Seven and everything like that. And they're like, well, you know, he apologizes, but here's some money, $45,000, and why don't you not talk about this anymore? And he's like, no, fuck this. I want to talk to him. I want to see him. I want him to actually say sorry to me.
Yeah.
And so he's all upset about this. And then you have Billy Butcher, who's out to get the Seven down, and we learn why later on. And he's like, well, why don't you help me? And he ends up joining the Boys. So you have the Boys, and the reason that they were a CIA agent, now they're just kind of rogue. The reason they're hunting them down is because they're led by Billy Butcher. And Billy, he's, you know, this is all very mature content. First, I want to throw that out there. But Billy's wife supposedly was raped by Homelander, basically Superman. And she committed suicide, is what he understands. And we learn later on, again, spoilers, but she got pregnant. And she was pregnant with Superman's baby. And the baby don't control nothing. So he's got, like, you can see, like, laser eyes forming.
Inside of her.
Well, yeah, they're, like, inside of her. And so... So then we further find out that she gave birth to this thing, and you know, and Stillwell's explaining this, and Homelander doesn't even know about this. Homelander knows about everything else but that, doesn't know about the baby part, because they told him you can't have kids, and the reason behind that is because they don't want him to love anything else except for the company.
Yeah.
Because so on that side you have that group that's hunting them down, and we'll just go with that. And then they find out that there's this Compound V that is what is injected to babies to create the superpowers. This whole thing was actually just a chemical, not actually like naturally born powers. And so now they're trying to, and the overarching plan of Vought, the company that owns this team, is to make it to where they're part of the military and they're fighting terrorists. And so that's kind of the overarching thing. And everybody's got their own plans. One of my favorite parts about this thing. So in the process of doing this, there's this plane that's going to Europe, and it's like about to crash over the ocean. And this is one of my favorite moments too. Probably actually my favorite moment of the whole thing. So the planes are being scrambled. They go try to do what they can, whatever. Well, Stillwell tells Homelander, like, hey, if you guys can go save this thing, they're over international waters. We're not supposed to leave America, but over international waters we should be safe. Go save this plane, then that we have a reason to join the military. So he goes up there. Guys, it's fucked up. So he's up there, and they're like, they kill all terrorists. And what's funny about this, and you don't think about it when you're reading Superman comics, Superman doesn't use his laser eyes much because they're just kill mode. I mean, you'll use it to break open stuff, but if he were to use it to actually stop people, he'd be murdering them left and right. Yeah. Homelander uses his eyes more than his strength, and he just like they're so good about.
So it's like Tony Stark's little laser beam trick he does, where it just cuts everything around him down, right?
Yeah, but he's just like because he doesn't think of people as normal or cares about them, so he'll just like mow them down real fast, and it's just like it's visceral to see how fast he doesn't care about people. Yeah. In the process, he finds there's a terrorist still in the pilot's cockpit, kills him, and destroys the cockpit in the same. So the plane's gonna go down. Well, then
he's just really sloppy at his job.
He's so careless. Yeah. So they tells Queen Maeve, and he's like, "Hey, we got to go. We can't save this plane now. It's going down. I just fucked it up." And And she's like, no, we have to save these people. She is right on the brink. Everybody's characters are so deep. She's like, no, we still got to be heroes. He's like, no, there's nothing we can do. She's like, can't you like lift the plane? He's like, what am I supposed to lift up on? I have to have the ground to lift up. I can't like just fly up. She's like, well, can't you hit it on the side? I'm like, no, puncture the thing. I'll really destroy it. Like he's got all kinds of reasons. Like, no.
Just finding excuses to not.
Well, and what's funny is she's trying to find almost excuses like we can do this still. And he's just like, no, makes sense. These people are dead. We can't do anything.
To him, she's being naive and he's being practical.
Yeah, stop being childish. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
And so she then takes his mom and her daughter and like, just we can carry these two out. And he's like, no witnesses.
Yeah, they can't know what happened.
Yeah. God. So then they leave him behind and they're just floating there and just plane crash and just done. And guys, it's so crazy. So then like, oh well, then you can't use that to try to get them into the military because it didn't work out. But then Homelander is so much smarter than they make him out to be in the beginning. He's later on, he's like looking at the crash and he's like, the cameras are on him and he starts to tear up. He's like, if only we were in the military and they got to us and they let us know about this plane problem before anybody else, we could have gotten here and saved them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, he's so good. So that's the kind of vibe. Like, they're going back and forth on this stuff. And the relationships and how they try to evolve and stuff like that are really cool. The last character I really want to kind of shine a light on is the Deep. You start off hating this dude. And again, I would just want to throw out this mature warning over this. Mm-hmm. Okay? We're going to be saying terms that we don't normally say on the show, but we're going to be throwing that out there. So when Starlight, this innocent girl from the middle of the country, comes over and like, oh yeah, I'm happy. And he's like, oh, did you like us when you were kids? Like, yeah, actually I had a poster of you on the wall. So just think of Aquaman. And he's like, oh yeah. So then he pulls down his pants and says, this is what you got to do to join the group. And she doesn't want to, but she does eventually because she understands, this is what she has to do, blah, blah, blah. So right away, we hate him, But he's Aquaman, and think of every Aquaman joke you've ever heard in your life. Like, he's always just the worst Justice League member. Nobody cares about him. Oh, yeah, you can talk to fish. And is the butt of the jokes. Yeah. Now, what I don't care for is in the comic books, he's the only one that didn't do that. Homelander, Black Noir, which is like their Batman, and one of the other ones that came. Oh, A-Train. All did that to her. Yeah. So he's the only one that didn't. So it was like, you guys are already making him the butt of all your jokes. Plus you made him the rapist.
Yeah, corrupting the one good guy you had.
Well, not even like nobody's good. Right. But yeah, it's like, it was just too much. But watching him collapse because then eventually she becomes like, she ends up blowing up at one event and then she becomes like the model of womanhood. And she's like, oh, I was raped by blah, 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 blah. And so then it's kind of like everybody's like, well, then it has to be this one. They all kind of figured out to the Deep. So they're like, okay, well, now you're part of Sandusky. You're like the superhero Sandusky. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the great things is he's like, we need to protect dolphins more. And so he tries to, and he's, for like Marine World. So he gets a dolphin and he's driving with it in the back of the van. and the dolphin's like, obviously trying to like come on him. And he's the only one that can talk back. So we're only hearing his side of the conversation. So he's like, don't worry, we're almost at the ocean. And then he's like driving, squeaking in the back. And he's like, we're not supposed to talk about this. Like, a really bad time to talk about this. And then like they go. But then like eventually like, he's surrounded by cops, whatever. He slams it on the brakes. The dolphin flies to the front of the window. This show's so dark. And like he's like watching as the dolphin goes, like I love you or whatever. Lands on the road. Semi comes by, obliterates the dolphin like A-Train through a girlfriend, and it's just such a mess.
It sounds like a depressing show.
It's so dark. It's
so why did you start liking him though?
You don't never like him, but you feel bad for him. Like he actually even gets raped at some point too, like Gil raped. It's real weird by a woman. Nevertheless, it's real bad. Yeah. So yeah, it has a good story though as it goes on. I really think that it's something that we could see a lot of future episodes out of, a future season out of. I would give this like a real solid B+. I would have made some changes. I think they made all the correct changes from the comic book except for what happened to the Deep. But it was really, I think they were trying to hide Homelander's evilness for like an episode, is why they didn't. Then it was the final part of the first episode. You find out that A-Train or Homelander is not Superman; he's evil. But it's super good. I really suggest you guys watch it. I'd give it a B+.
I think I'll check it out tonight.
And the thing I was talking to you about, I was worried about the superhero fatigue because we get a lot of superheroes in what we do. But this one took such a different approach to them that you felt like this isn't quite the same. Yeah.
And only the 7 are superheroes, right? The boys aren't.
The boys aren't. That's one big change they made from the comic books that I think was a good move. Yeah. Is in the comic books they inject themselves with this compound V, so they have super strength. Yeah. It's like, man, that changes everything. It's way cooler when
like Bane, right?
Yeah, but it's way cooler if you have just like the ragtag, cool guys that are no superpowers at all. So that'd probably be something that happens in season 2. But I thought it was way cooler to not have any powers, and in the comics they do. So yeah. Anyways, check out the Deep. Give it a B
Yeah,
plus.
shoot.
Bing. All right, Squeaks. We're gonna be going next into yours. You're gonna be talking about scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yes.
I'm antsy to watch this. So I'm hoping it's good.
Yes. Have you seen this?
No,
John?
I've seen
Okay.
the trailers, but I haven't watched it.
So basically, it's based off the books back in the day. I never read the books. I don't know if you have.
I have them on my shelf right now.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
need them. So right off the back, it takes off late '60s. So it goes from the what do you call it? The draft.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, these kids usually get bullied or whatnot, but they play tricks on these other bullies. That's all it is. It's classic. It's like a charming '60s feel to it. Like it's funny in the beginning, you laugh. It's kind of cute. But the little down part of it, because they're going back in the days, it's like, okay, I'm just getting like an It, Stranger Things type ordeal with the walkie-talkie.
Okay.
There was walkie-talkies in it. It's like, okay, whatever. But later on, they go to this haunted house and they find a book, and I'm just going to keep it short. Find the book and they start reading it. And it's like, oh, wow, Sarah Bellow, if I remember right, Sarah Bellow? It's some Bellow. I'm getting the name wrong of the person. Pretty much this girl was tortured back in the days, and she was going to let like this conspiracy out with her family and whatnot, but they kind of, what do you call that? Electrocute her? Shock therapy.
Electroshock therapy.
Yeah, that's it. So then she became all twisted and whatnot, and then tried killing her family through this book. So everything that she'd write in this book would come true.
Okay.
So when the young kids found this book, they read some of the stories, but then they realized the story sounds like it's about my friend, and it's not even happened yet. So when she's reading these stories, she's trying to get in contact with the friends, like, hey, when you do this, they don't believe her, obviously. So it's like, hey, we'll prove it. You're going to do this in like 5 seconds, whatever. So then like, holy shit, how do you know this? Are you watching me? And then things start to come. What I like about it, it's not your typical horror. It's Guillermo del Toro had a part of this, right? If I'm reading, if he was producing or something.
I don't know.
I saw his name pop up on it. But each.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because I think he did the practical effects or something like that. Like that, they
I
were
think
pushing
so.
for
It's
practical
really
effects because of him.
and when you see it, you can tell it's like, okay, this is from him, because each story is totally different. Different creatures or villains or ghosts, whatever it wants to be, and that's what I loved about it, because it's something new with each person. So, like, say for the first person, this is what got set into the mood right away. It's like, oh, this is not your typical horror. If you've seen the trailer, you saw like a scarecrow. Scarecrow comes to life, whatnot.
Right.
So the scarecrow kills one of the bully in the movie. The first one, the first scenes the first scary story, kills the bully, but then stabs him with a hoe. But then you're like, oh well, he's gonna start bleeding out. No, it starts like haze starts coming out of those holes.
What the hell?
Yeah, in his stomach. So then you're like, oh shit, what the hell is that? And then when he's like running around coughing, he's throwing up hay. So he's slowly becoming the scarecrow.
Yeah.
So now, when he's all twisted and deformed and whatnot, he is the one hanging now as the new scarecrow.
Kind of hinting that the last scarecrow might have been somebody too.
Yeah, could have been. I didn't even think about that. Good catch. but it's insane stories like that. So one of them was real quick where the girl was reading the story like, hey, I gotta call my friend because there's a toe in your soup. Like, so this guy pulls this stew out of his refrigerator, and the mom's like, I didn't make no stew, but whatever, we're on vacation, see you later. And so he pulls out and he's eating it, and then he realized, like, holy crap, there's body parts in the stew. Turns out that there's this monster that's looking for her toe. So now he's running away from the monster the whole time, and then the monster gets him. So what I do like, it's not a very happy ending. It's a semi-happy, because some of these people that die, they never come back. So, but they leave it open to like, we'll find a way to get them back. So it's PG-13. You can feel that it's.
Wow.
I don't want to say like it's a Goosebumps feel or Goosebumps. Sorry, Goosebumps. Yeah. Because it's kind of charming like that, but it's definitely dark too when you run into the character or the monsters.
It's kind of spooky, but not like morbid.
Yeah, it's definitely not scary. Well, they have the jump scares, so they try to like pop up but it's more, I guess, kind of thrilling. Like you're excited to see the next story is happening.
How many stories do you think there was in that?
1, 2, 3. About 4, maybe 4. But they talk more about other stories that happened before.
Oh, okay.
But I think you see like a good 4.
Was there an overarching story that they were trying? Like, was there an overarching story that had an end, or was it just the start of a trilogy, or was it all short stories, pretty much?
Short stories, but you're basically finding out that the woman that was tortured and whatnot that made this book and would tell little kids stories about this book that she was tortured to not release. I think there was like some chemical in the water that this family would give water to people. I'm trying to remember this or whatever, but there was something in the water she kept saying. So you find out that really she's a good person and she was trying to get this information out.
Oh, okay.
So they close out that story, but now they got to figure out, well, how do we get our
Oh.
people back?
So, okay. So I'm thinking like, is there a way to like solve each story, or is it just solving the overarching thing?
So they were able to rescue one friend, not rescue, but prevent her from dying. But they were not successful in any other one, and that's what I thought was pretty neat.
Kind of sounds like a Final Destination.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole
Yeah,
time.
I guess so. Huh? Yeah, but what I liked about it was horror, but it was charming at the same time. So
Like a
you
more
had some
hardcore
laughs.
Stranger Things. or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
not. Yeah,
Or
there you
like
go.
retro Black Mirror, right? Like not
yeah, you can
not future
if you
tech
did
and
it
stuff like
ghosty, or if you did
Yeah.
it horror, yeah.
that.
Like
Each one was
Stephen
different.
King's Black Mirror.
Yeah,
It really
oh,
was.
that
Yeah,
sounds good, doesn't
and
it?
each story was really different. That's what I appreciate about it. It wasn't just the same thing over and over again.
One thing, now if I remember the books real well, like growing up, those were like if you were really cool, like Goosebumps, everybody read.
Yeah.
Everybody had Goosebumps. Everybody had the Goosebumps collections. But there were only 3 of these other ones, and they were like, okay, but like, these are real scary stories. They're not
Yeah.
like your
They're the big
Yeah.
kid books.
Yeah, and I have one of them. I used to have more, but they were short stories, and they were like there was no happy ending to these things. They were actually just scary.
Shit,
Like Goosebumps
yeah.
always have a happy ending, like they
Yeah.
get the mask off, or it's just a game of tag.
Yeah.
Like no, they were bad stories.
Yeah,
This
no.
is why you don't answer the door to strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these all ended bad. They were just able to help one of their friends out. But that's what I was afraid of in the beginning or in the end of this movie is that are the friends all going to pop out now because the girl's fine with because basically the little girl tells that girl's story. The main little girl in there tells the girl that was being tortured story, and gets it out. So she's like, okay, you can have my book now. Basically, is what the ghost was.
So now she
telling
can
her.
use the book however she wants.
That's kind of how it
Ooh.
ended up being. But she wants to use the book to save her friends. That's what she says.
Uh,
It'd be nice to see if she doesn't though.
Right.
Oh shit.
I gotta see this thing. The trailer looked amazing.
No, it's good. I liked it a lot.
What about like directing wise? And like shots, was it like pretty good quality? I know they were trying to use a lot of practical effects. Did that feel like it went well?
Yeah. You could tell with some of the ghosting, some of the creatures were practical effects, some of them were CGI. And one of them at the very end, I forgot the name of it because it was kind of like a Latin type name. But it's basically this guy that could rip off all his body parts and then he puts himself back together and he's like running like a little golem running around trying to kill you. That was all CGI. I thought that was a little too out there. You're like, okay, we kept it kind of steady and then you're going to have this weird ass creature jumping on cars and running around shit. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah, because they used a little bit of that old school Stranger Things feel and whatnot, and then they mixed in some of this new technology.
What would you give it? A grade or out of 100?
Out of 10, I'll do 8.
8.
Yeah, I like it very much.
8
yeah.
out of 10 scarecrows.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
We gotta do that more often. We used to do that a lot back in the early days. All right, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I knew the trailer.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Rocko's Modern Life.
All right, now we're back. Let's talk about Rocko's Modern Life. Static Cling. Did you get a chance to watch this yet, Jonathan? It's
I'm just
45
excited to
minutes.
watch it.
Yeah. And it feels like just a heavy, like maybe like a 2-part episode, really. It feels like that. Kinda.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an actual movie,
Yeah.
but it was nice having it back. Now, what did you think of it overall, Squeaks? Squeaks watched it with me. We both watched it.
It brought me some joy.
Yeah.
Because when you first, the art they kept the same, which I
Exact
appreciate
same,
that.
yeah.
Just maybe a little brighter or whatnot, whatever colors. Overall, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. 60-40.
If it's 2
Yeah.
different episodes, the first episode,
Mhm.
10 out of 10.
Oh, man.
Second episode,
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
hmm
Yeah.
I think the first half of the show, you just got the feels. Like I told you before, I was smiling on it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is real. And then just because he comes back 20 years later.
Yeah.
And it was just funny to see Hefner, Rocko, and Filbert
Filbert, yeah.
just living like nowadays where there was a scene with the phones where they're like, oh, I got the new phone. Well, I got the newer phone. And then the newer phone than that just came
Yeah.
out. So, and then gluten-free stuff, I think was the thing with
Yeah.
shakes and
And
it was funny.
They have the drones. Everybody's got drones. They use drones for everything.
Got drones.
So let me kind of we'll do some spoilers. It's
Okay.
45 minutes. And
Yeah.
it feels like just a regular episode.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like so spoilery.
Yeah.
But generally, the idea is that in the last episode of Rocko's Modern Life, they got shot into space, like a rocket went into the house and brought them into space.
Yeah.
So they actually pick up straight up from the show, which was really cool. And then they've just been in space. Nobody aged, apparently. It's been 20 years. And they keep watching the same tapes over and over again of Fatheads. Fatheads is basically an analog for Rocko's Modern Life within Rocko's Modern Life. They keep watching it over again. They found out a way to get back to Earth. We won't have to go into details because it's classic Rocko's. We're super silly as a button, basically. They get back to Earth and it's 20 years later, and everybody's like, "Oh, we've missed you for 20 years." Nobody else has aged.
Yeah.
Nothing's aged. Yeah.
Just technology advanced.
Yeah.
Just a city.
Just the technology did, yeah. And then as soon as they land there, Rocko says, "Fellas, I don't think we're in the 90s anymore," which is kind of like that's cute.
Yeah.
I'd give anything to go back to the 90s.
Oh, man. Perfect times. And then, they go through all like the typical like consumer stuff of today. So you had the phones and everything like that. It was really cool. And I really like how Filbert became like a vlogger.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was
Yeah, he did.
So he's videotaping himself, everything's doing. It felt, especially the first half, just felt like an episode of Rocko's Modern Life.
Mm-hmm.
It was a trip because it was just like, it feels like this could have been made right after the other ones. Like it was nothing else. Same sound design, everything was exact same.
Yeah.
Animation was just crisper, but it wasn't different.
Yeah.
And that's even a part of the episode too. So when they get back, of course, they've been watching these Fatheads the whole time on TV. So when they get back, they're like, we want to watch Fatheads, and it's not on anymore because it's 20 years later. It's got canceled. They don't even do the reruns anymore.
Yeah.
So we find out that Mr. Big Head, which was the neighbor,
Yeah.
has
them all on tape or something.
Yeah, well, no, he works for the company that makes them, but his life has been great without Rocko.
Yeah.
Company's doing well, right? And then as soon as Rocko's back, it's funny how it kind of coincides that all of a sudden like the company falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rocko, it comes out basically like, hey, if you guys bring back big heads, or fat heads. It's hard because it's two different things. If you bring up fat heads, you can save the company and the town because we're all based around this company. And the guy that made fat heads is Big Head's son.
Yeah.
What was it? Ralph? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Ralph.
They go out and try to find him using drones and a couch. So they tied a couch to a drone. I'm going to try it later on, see if it works. They find Ralph. Now, this is where we basically split up into two different things. Now, before this, a fun Rocko, nothing else. Now, I'm not saying what happens is bad at all.
Yeah, no.
Totally embrace it. All of us do.
Yeah.
Totally cool with it. We just felt like, why are you trying to shove morals down Rocko?
Yeah.
Because there's other cartoons for that. There's other cartoons that are like moral high ground. Like, can I give an example here? What do you think? Like,
a cartoon that's kind of
that teaches you a lesson the whole time.
Gargoyles?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Honestly, John, we mentioned gargoyles like in every episode.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, maybe they'll get the hint. I don't know.
Yeah,
man, I'm trying to think of cartoons. I don't really watch Switch cartoons now.
But you know what I'm saying? Like every cartoon kind of.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Well, not everyone, but there's a lot of them do that. And then there's some that are just nonsense, like a SpongeBob, which generally don't have to teach you.
Avatar.
Avatar teaches you lessons and everything like that. Yeah. Stuff. So you don't expect it in your Rocko's Modern Life because it's supposed to be like, yeah, exactly. That's a good point. It's like Cat Dog doesn't need Yeah. So, but then what we find out is Ralph, he left the family to go kind of find himself, and now Ralph is Rachel. He's transitioned into Rachel, and he's living his life. He's living his true life now, so he's happy. She is living it. Thank you. Is living his true life. Good catch. And isn't ready to come back. Well, then Rocko gets him and saying like, you need to save your family's house. That's where you grew up. And so she decides to go with him, and when he gets there, Big Head won't accept her. And it's like, man, this is like really deep stuff for Rocko Modern Life. Like,
but it is making the show very modern, right?
Very modern life.
Pulling
that's true.
Like legit problems that people are having these days.
The thing is, they just didn't used to do problems. It was weird. I don't think they did. I don't remember. Though.
I think they just trying to adapt to society with. I think back in the days it was like pagers and kind of things like that. The little stuff. I don't remember it ever being.
We didn't. I don't think we had such complicated issues back in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what
There's too much communicate. Like now that we have the internet and everybody's talking about everything and stuff like that, people just we're too spoiled in the way we're able to live so comfortably now that our problem isn't like I don't have running water in my house or my electric got cut off or something like that. Now it's like my phone battery only lasts 18 hours instead of the 24 like it used to.
I hate when that happens.
Or my toilet paper's not soft enough or something.
Yeah.
Or complaining about social issues like, gender change and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird because it was in this.
It was just, in a world where every fucking show we watch has to have something like that. It's like, man, I just want to get away from all this.
Yeah.
But with the Rocko though, it was like, well, as soon as that happened, it felt like a whole 180 with the show.
It felt like a different show.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is if you felt like you were watching Rocko from the 90s, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, whoa, hard stop,
Yeah.
and it's a whole new show. It's a whole different show.
So maybe they should have waited a few episodes to start doing that transition.
Yeah, and I don't.
Or just give me Rocko like it was in the first half, to be honest. Just live in this
also,
world
this is a
nowadays.
special, so really, what are we expecting? It could be something different because it was a special.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, so anyway, we'll just continue the story real quick.
Yeah.
We'll wrap things up. So yeah, Big Head won't accept his new son or daughter, and Rachel decides, okay, I'm gonna leave town then. And when she's finally like, nah, I still love my family. And what's really cool is this whole time the side story is that they're gonna make big heads themselves. Fathead, thank you.
Yeah.
But they're gonna what's that?
That show. That
Yeah.
was on,
So, but then they're gonna digitally animate it, and it's just garbage. It's just crap.
Yeah.
Which is cool because the whole time you're watching Rocko, and it's in the classic animation, so it's
Yeah.
like that's cool. But then Rachel decides she's gonna go ahead and do this, like, anyways, make Fatheads the right way, and she has like an actual animator studio. Like she folds out the desk and just starts drawing on the cells. It's really cool, and doing the old school stuff. And she brings it back, saves everything. Meanwhile, Rocko, who's been trying to bring the show back, and Big Head, who's not accepting his daughter, are both realizing that they need to change. And there's like the winds of change.
Yeah,
new
there was this
character.
thing where this cloud wants, like, oh, you need to just accept the change, like kind of forcing you. Oh, enough. Yeah, it was pushing you.
It was kind of like a, God, wow. How would
It
you
was pretty
explain
much like you're screaming as a viewer. You're telling me if I can't accept something, then
That's true.
I'm wrong.
So it was
You
more
know?
like your conscience, right?
No, it was just something
No,
like,
it wasn't. It wasn't that.
The
It was
change that's coming
almost
on.
like, so. This is what it felt like to me when I was watching it. So, because the part of that story that I'm relating to is the guy who wants his old show back. I was actually relating to Rocko, right?
Yeah.
I think we all are really for
Yeah.
watching Rocko's
Yeah.
Modern Life in 2019. And they were telling you like, look, you guys have to accept change. Rocko's gone, type of thing like that. And that's what it felt like they were telling me. And it was like,
Oh, I see. So yeah, the gender change is just like your show is now changed. Rocco's not the old Rocko.
but the thing
it used
is
to
the
be.
other story was in there too. The Rocko
Yeah.
story was still there.
Yeah.
So they were shoving both of them together, basically saying you guys have to accept change.
Gosh.
So, anyways, and then we get to the point where Rachel comes back, saves the town, saves everything. Great show. In the new show, though, the family gets a baby and it's a little different. Rocko doesn't accept it.
Yeah.
So then he does one more step where he's trying to say like, no, it's still not the same. And Big Head says, no, we have to accept change. Follow us as we
So
accept change.
flip flop. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
pulls him, and then everything's happy go lucky after that. I just think that it was just weird that they had to make the change, but I really liked it up until that point, and even with it, I really liked it. It was just, that's the thing is we complained, but I mean, we liked it. It was still a good show either way.
Yeah.
But it was just that it was that hard of that big of a change. Even the
Yeah.
reveal, like they even like revealed it, trying to make it like,
Yeah.
here we go, like it
Yeah.
was a reveal. It was a big deal.
Mhm.
They probably know they have to shift gears quickly because they don't have a lot of exposure. You know, it's they got one shot to get to their point. But it sounds like that if they were to have taken like 3 or 4 episodes to get to that transition, it would have been a lot more comfortable for you guys. If they knew that, hey, this is going to get sold no matter what, this is going to get bought, and we're going to be able to air, 50 episodes before we have to consider, re-upping or whatever, getting more funding, then they could have taken the time. But it sounds like they needed to do not just bringing back their 90s show, but whatever they're going to be airing long term for people.
The thing is, are they doing long term though? What's
Yeah.
the plan?
So
this
sounds
was
like-
just a one movie
But
ordeal.
Right.
I would imagine they're trying to bring it back because the audience has been saying for years, we
Right.
want our 90s show back. But I'm sure the producers are like, hey, your 90s show just won't sell like it used to in the 90s. We need to bring back your 90s show with a modern twist, like Stranger Things has been so successful with. So, I think
So
they're-
far, Murray, the guy that made the show, has only been approached to do this one thing.
Oh, okay.
But I can see what you're saying is like, this is what we will do in the future if we bring back Rocko's Modern Life. It will be these kind of stories.
Yeah.
Fantastic. As long as I get more Rocko, I don't care. And it's really good to share these stories. It was just so jarring because we weren't ready for it in this. But if that's what you're saying, then that makes a lot of sense. I actually really like that idea of like, hey, this is what new Rocko is. This is Rocko's Modern Life, which would make a lot of sense. I actually really like that idea.
So this whole concept brings me to a really cool idea.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody has enough money to do it. But if you were to bring in the same exact way Seinfeld back, wouldn't that be
Yeah.
so
the
cool?
only person with enough money to do that is
Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, like that'd be awesome. Imagine them dealing with modern politics, modern technology, and then maybe they live in a little bit
God,
different
that'd be so
areas or something like that. But You know, Seinfeld, I mean, he'd be at the point, oh, yeah, my show was a huge success, this one that he was trying for so long.
Yeah.
And now he's wealthy and doesn't really hang out with some of his friends as much and, you know, whatever. Maybe Kramer's turned homeless or, you know,
Yeah.
everything's changed.
Couple things about Jerry Seinfeld. First off, he has a really good show, Comedians in Cars.
Yeah.
Getting
Oh,
Coffee.
yeah.
Have you seen that
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Very good. Second thing, he has not aged well politically.
Oh, really?
He's very old school.
Oh.
The actually gender dynamics he has a hard time embracing.
Hey, that played good on TV, though.
He's even come out and said like you can't do college towns, like you can't go do comedy at college towns. He's told friends that.
Yeah, that's actually a lot of comedians say that.
Yeah. And I don't know. That'd be tough for him to.
Well, so he would...
Maybe actually him with like his own kid and trying to like grow with him would be really good.
Yeah, you'd have to play on that dynamic. He's, what, in his 60s now, isn't he?
God, I'm old if he's in his 60s, but I think you're right.
Yeah, but so you'd have to, you know, lean on that a lot with them. I mean, I'm sure some of them would be totally into the new technology and stuff like that, but Jerry could be the standout who's just like, you know,
That'd be
not
funny, yeah.
trying to get up to date and stuck in his stubborn old ways.
I like the idea of like Elaine being like super overly techie and stuff like
Yeah.
that, like Women's March, but she's like overly a poser and stuff. That'd be really funny.
Yeah.
Do you think these will be successful though? So like, you know, Rocko and you're talking about Jerry Seinfeld. You come back, well, you're only really focusing on one. They're doing different things because they're trying to grab more people. But who's the first people that are going to watch this? Rocko's Modern Life fans. Like,
Yeah.
fucking kids know that shit nowadays.
Yeah.
So if you bring back Jerry Seinfeld, who is the person that's the first group you're going to
It's
get is Jerry
huge.
Seinfeld fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But that's like most of America.
but will bringing modern days new ideas into old fans or whatever piss people off to veer like, I don't want to watch this shit no more, or maybe bring new people.
I think
don't
one
know.
of the problems is you aren't entertained the same way you were
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
We've all changed. We've evolved with the world around us, so the entertainment has to change with us.
True.
I
Like we
mean,
like Rugrats, but now we watch Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you go watch season 1 episodes of Family Guy, you're just like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
You-
That show was so much
Even-
better back then. But
yeah.
but yeah.
Or
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
any of these shows,
anyway.
they've all changed. Simpsons is actually a lot better now, but I mean, everything.
It's so funny. I love Simpsons
the-
now. A lot of fans
Yeah.
disagree with that 100%.
Oh wow.
But yeah, cool. They
All of
think,
our
like, after
entertainments
season
had
eight,
to
it's
had to
done.
grow with this though. So
That's yeah. So I think Rocko would it would be a harder transition because they were going from a format that never existed to a format that exists now.
Mhm.
So still, telling lessons the whole time that didn't exist in Rocko before, but now they're trying to make Rocko about that
Yeah.
now. But I think it would still do well
Yeah.
because I think we're a little bit different viewers, like you're saying.
yeah,
Seinfeld now that actually did tackle at that time relevant issues.
yeah,
So it actually is perfect for the situation. Same thing with like we've talked about it before. Everybody Loves Raymond.
yeah.
That would be perfect for now because you're just doing the same formula again. You're telling stories again. It would be really
Yeah.
of what's going on today with just a family living in that.
Yeah.
Jerry trying to raise his kid and because it was just dropped off at his doorstep or something like that. It'd be really good if he's still single and trying to mingle and it's not working out well.
Yeah.
George, oh my God, George could be a family man who's just trying to escape his wife
He's
and
got,
kids.
like,
Oh, that'd be
three
great.
kids, an older teenage daughter, something like that. That's just his bane of his existence.
Yeah.
That'd be
And a wife
hilarious.
that's always nagging him or something like that. So
Yeah.
he's going to Jerry's apartment to like get away from him. Oh, that'd be really good.
Kramer's still got to be like
Kramer's
a
scheming.
bachelor. Yeah.
One of my favorite Jerry or Kramer moments is when he's has his own talk show in his apartment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He
and he's
has,
like dun dun, like he has people come on.
Yeah, because he has like a whole full set. Right?
Yeah, he gets the full set. He puts it in, and then he even like
That's funny.
Jerry. I don't know if he's like cheating on his girlfriend at the time or whatever, because he has a different girlfriend every episode. And then he's like, "Well, let's bring in your girlfriend." Dun dun dun. He has the girlfriend come on to talk about it. Because of Jerry Springer. By the way, Jerry Seinfeld's 65 years old.
Man,
I know.
Dang.
I'm old. He'd have grandkids on the show actually.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Damn, that would be cool. I'm down. All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to get in on this episode before we finish things up?
No. Anyway.
We covered a lot.
What would you give? Oh, real quick, grade Rocko's Modern Life.
Rocko. 6.
6 wombats out of 10.
Damn, that's good.
6 wombats.
What would you give it?
Honestly, it
I was
felt
almost at a
so
7.
good to see. I'm gonna go 7
Okay.
plus. It was just so good to have Rocko back.
Yeah.
7
I'm
and a
happy.
tail.
If I
We
could do
have
the
Vader's
halves, I would do
incoming
6.5. I would go up a half. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Vader Zim's the next kind of treat coming back. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. So just the same animation again, man. They got me. All right, guys. We will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Geek Freaks podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Geek Freaks Pod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us, We have our Patreon and a store. All those links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.